What's going on, everybody? We back at it again, Skyton Crypto University. Another episode of Connect Wednesdays. Today is episode 33. We're going to be talking about who is the founder of Bitcoin, and what is an ETF and how to make money on it. And we got a guest appearance by Satoshi Nakamoto himself, so I got him pinned, y'all. He in the building with us, as they don't know who he is.
Champ, what's good?
What's good? What's good, Satoshi? How you?
Everything good, champ. We've been trying to tell them for a minute, right?
Yeah, man. They ears wasn't open. They wasn't paying attention to what we was telling them.
Okay. Now BlackRock's in the game now.
Now they ears open.
Kathy Woods, they in the game now. Everybody's paying attention. We knew it was gonna happen like this too.
Facts. We called it.
Yeah. All right, go ahead, get started, man.
All right, Shu, let's get into it. Look, without further ado, we're gonna jump right in. All right, so first things first, who owns Bitcoin? All right, so this is about to be a ride. We're gonna take y'all through this. It's gonna be brief, but we're gonna walk y'all through it, right? So they gave us the very first cryptocurrency to exist. That was Bitcoin, right? The ticker is BTC. They gave us Bitcoin in 2008. In 2009, it went live, right? So now everybody was able to use it beginning in 2009. But it's always been a big mystery about who was behind Bitcoin. They gave us a pseudonym name, Satoshi Nakamoto, and they told us this was the very first cryptocurrency people could use. And because of Bitcoin itself, this is how we got blockchain technology. All right. So let's get into it. All right. So on August 25th, 1988, a gentleman by the name of David Schwartz, he's the current CTO of Ripple. So he filed a patent that is nearly identical to Bitcoin right now. And when he created this patent, he was an employee of the NSA, right? So that's the National Security Administration. If you know anything about the NSA, they've created all the algorithms that exist right now when it comes to quantum computing and cryptography, right? So it's huge that he worked for the NSA, but it's even crazier that this was released in 1988. This is before the internet was allegedly created. The patent is here for y'all. And you can see the date here. It was filed August 25th, 1988. Fast forward, 1996, June 18th, the NSA published an essay, and it was written by NSA employees. I repeat, in 96, the NSA had the employees of the NSA create an actual document, an actual essay. It's called How to Make a Mint, the Cryptography of Anonymous Electronic Cash. This is the first page, the table of contents. It tells you, all the breakdowns about electronic cash, cryptography, the security protocols and the algorithms behind Bitcoin and creating a digital currency, right? This was in 1996. This is, again, before Bitcoin and anything else existed. And if you look here in the footnotes, it says this research essay was prepared by NSA employees. All right. I linked this here for you guys too, because I know this is public information, but a lot of people aren't privy to it. So now let's get to the thick of it. So now you know that the paper itself was written by the employees of the NSA. You know the patent in 1988 was filed by David Schwartz. He was an employee of the NSA, and he worked with them, and he's seen, well, let me hold off on that. So long story short, he worked for the NSA. But there's an algorithm that existed. In the beginning stage, it was SHA-1, SHA-1. SHA-1 was the first of its kind. And this was created, it created basically the mechanism behind what we know now as Bitcoin. So it takes a digital fingerprint and footprint, and it was used as a tool by the government to spy on its enemies, right? So we're talking about financial transactions and all sorts of things, right? So this was how they were able to kind of lock in on certain people that they had their eyes on and they had identified as an enemy. And this is how they were able to basically follow them and mirror them and see everything that they had going on, right? Electronically. Again, this was the NSA. So there was a bunch of attacks that people started to figure out and launch against this algorithm. So they needed a new algorithm to be the successor. So SHA-1 got phased out after a whole bunch of different attacks. They made SHA-2. SHA-2 is now the gold standard of cryptography, right? They use it for all sorts of things. And with the NSA being the creators of it, they now implemented this technology into Bitcoin. The only other project that is really notable is Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash. The rest of them, they're not household names. You may have to, do some real digging to kind of understand that. But this algorithm, again, was used just to spy on enemies. So now that they have this encryption and this algorithm behind Bitcoin itself, this was created in 2001. So this was created way before, and we're talking 7-8 years before Bitcoin even existed. They created this algorithm and had it in tow, ready and waiting for Bitcoin to be released to the world. So I gave you guys the background. It's commonly used, SHA-256 is commonly used to authenticate digital certificates, SSL certificates, and secure links between websites and your web browsers. This is mainly focused on proof of work, consensus mechanisms. The main proof of work that started this all, of course, was Bitcoin, but Bitcoin didn't come about until 2008. Remember, this came out in 2001. All right, so now fast forward, 2008, the world gets blessed with this coin, this digital currency known as Bitcoin. And the person who created Bitcoin and released the actual white paper to it, you see it here. This is the first page of the Bitcoin white paper. It says Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, I want you guys to understand something. Anybody can just create something and post it on the internet. That we understand. Now, I want you guys to honestly understand the magnitude of Bitcoin and where we are today. What else happened in 2008? We had a financial revolution. I mean, we had a financial collapse that happened in 2008. So upon the heels of this happening, we, out of the blue, get a white paper and we get the first cryptocurrency to exist, Bitcoin. See the coincidence? All right, bet. So now that you understand that Bitcoin, the technology behind it was NSA, the 256 was created by the NSA. Everything points directly to our government being Satoshi Nakamoto. All right. So you guys got the white paper here. For those of you who haven't read it, I suggest that you take a moment, read through it. It's short, a couple pages, right? But here's another thing that I want you guys to see. So I'm gonna go back on the slide. So in the footnotes on this 1996 essay that was written, again, by NSA employees, this footnote right here is from one of the authors, right? He's not listed as the main three, but he's one of the authors of other documents that they referenced inside this essay. His name is Tatsuki Akamoto. Come on, man. This was in 96. Now, fast forward, who was the author of the Bitcoin white paper? Look right here, y'all. Satoshi Nakamoto. And this was a 12-year difference before Bitcoin was ever even a thing. In 96, you see those names? You see the players behind it? All right. So I can't play. There's a video that I want to play for you guys. I can't play it like this. So give me 1 second. I'm going to pull it up for y'all because I want y'all to see this. But just to recap, David Schwartz filed the patent for distributed computing. And that was the whole basis of blockchain in 1988. Then in 96, you had the NSA white paper. That came out, and that was 12 years before Bitcoin white paper even existed. The name reference in the 96 essay, that was Tatsuki Akamoto. Now, in 2008, when we got the Bitcoin introduction, it was Satoshi Nakamoto. And they want you to believe that this guy or this group of people, it's actually a group of 4, is unknown. And the algorithm behind Bitcoin's creation was all NSA, that SHA-256. And it was used to spy on enemies. So what you got to understand is there is no anonymity. The whole time, they knew. They knew who Satoshi Nakamoto is. They knew who the quote-unquote group was. So let me play this video for y'all, man.
We looked at Bitcoin. It was the most prevalent at that point. We had seized quite a bit of it, millions of dollars worth under the Silk Road investigation. So one of our agents who started looking at another online marketplace through the deep web, which is called Black Market Reloaded, they were sending weapons through packages and ordering them on the dark web. And he was really, really smart, forward-leaning agent. And he goes, I want to go interview Satoshi Nakamoto. And we're like, what? He said, yeah, I want to go interview this guy. And at the time, we're like, hey, it's a figment of somebody's imagination. Maybe it's true. Maybe it's not true. So, we had all this pushback from our headquarters. And we thought, hey, if an agent wants to go talk to him and we have some money, why don't we send him? Let's find out how this works. So as it came to be, the agents flew out to California and they realized that he wasn't alone in creating this. There were 3 other people, and they sat down and met with them and talked to them to find out how this actually works and what their reason for it was.
Hello. So that person you just heard, that was the Department of Homeland Security agent, Rana Shaud, right? She was in an interview doing a sworn statement stating that she knew and the U.S. government knew and had met with Satoshi Nakamoto, this group, right, who they claim is anonymous. What you guys got to understand is y'all would be playing yourselves to think they would allow the first cryptocurrency ever created, ever known to come out, people to build upon it, ecosystems to be created around it, and the government not know who it is? Come on, be serious. They know and they have known. Now you do. The NSA is behind Bitcoin. Satoshi. Okay, so now that you guys understand that the NSA is behind Bitcoin, let's get into this ETF talk. So this week, we had a lot going on with this alleged approval for a Bitcoin ETF. So Steve, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about ETFs, about the Bitcoin ETFs, and I just want you to run everybody through the gamut. So tell me, what exactly is an ETF?
An ETF stands for Exchange Traded Fund, right? Exchange Traded Fund. It's an investment vehicle that's publicly traded, like a stock, right? But it tracks the performance of the underlying asset or index rather than one company. So usually what they do is they'll get a pool of companies and put it all together under one ETF. So if it's oil, you'll have several different oil companies all mixed into one bag. So it's like you're investing in a multitude of companies under one particular ETF.
Got it.
In essence, is now turned into a stock, basically.
Yeah.
ETF is a way for investors to gain exposure to underlying assets like gold, oil, and for the conversation today, Bitcoin. So ETFs trade on traditional stock exchanges, right? So their value should increase as the value of the asset increases, and it should decrease as the value of the underlying asset decreases.
Okay.
That's an ETF.
Fair enough. You answered that spot on. So what exactly is this Bitcoin ETF?
So the Bitcoin ETF enables retail and other investors. So retail would be common folk. And then you have the big institutional guys, right? So other investors exposure to cryptocurrency without directly holding the asset, right? So unlike traditional Wall Street ETFs and stocks where you can borrow against them, buying Bitcoin requires upfront cash, right? So we don't have that sort of vehicle in cryptocurrency where someone will lend us money. We could barely use our own money to buy the asset that we want to buy, right, without drawback. So that can be a significant hurdle for institutional investors to have to put out that much cash, because at present time, Bitcoin's going for what? Well over 34,000 a coin.
Absolutely.
So institutional guys are not in the business of buying fractional ownership of this thing. So the huge capital outlay without the credit is a big hindrance to why, you know, we have Bitcoin ETFs.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's spot on. So exactly how does this Bitcoin ETF work?
So when the set investment firm files with the SEC for the Bitcoin ETF, it's managed by a firm that buys and holds the actual Bitcoin, right? And then the price of the Bitcoin held in the fund, right? So the price is basically pegged to the amount of Bitcoin that's held in the fund.
Okay.
You understand? So the firm then lists the ETF on traditional stock exchanges, and then guys like me, you, and other investors trade the ETF as if we would trade any other stock. Okay. So Bitcoin ETFs also offer new trading opportunities. That's including like short selling. So where investors can now bet against Bitcoin. So now we're going to have a market betting that is going to go up, and then we're going to have a short sell market betting that is going to go down. So this is extremely huge when you start to bring cryptocurrency to mainstream. New products are now created.
Yeah, that's incredible. So how does this differ from a regular ETF?
Okay, so let's say the ones that track the S&P 500, right? That they represent equity shares. Okay, so you get a cut of the dividends of any company that's in the ETF. They have to pay their shareholders, right? So let's say when Apple pays dividends, okay, and you have shares in the ETF, you're going to get a smaller dividend because you have equity shares in the ETF. Okay, if you held Apple personally, you're going to get the direct payment of the dividend based on what you own. So in the traditional way, there's an equity share and a dividend drawdown to investors, right? But because Bitcoin is decentralized, that won't happen with a Bitcoin ETF, right? Bitcoin is not paying you based on you investing with them. It's right. You own the asset, it goes up, you sell it, you make your money.
Right.
Okay. So that's one part that differs. The second is like other ETFs, there's fees for the company offering the ETF, right? So every investor has to pay a fee. But with the Bitcoin ETF, some of the portions of the fee is going to go to this management company who is managing, has custody and the storage of the Bitcoin.
Got it.
So there's a huge management fee that goes along with Bitcoin, because unlike traditional stocks, this thing has to be babysat.
Got to be protected.
Yeah, you have to protect it.
That's essential. Mm-hmm. So why the need for a Bitcoin ETF?
So what happens is when you bring Bitcoin to the ETF market, right, and you start to trade it plugs every major bank, every investment bank, every money manager into the asset class. So immediately integrating Bitcoin in the traditional financial industry. So this is what we've been waiting for.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Yeah.
This validates the asset class in the traditional eyes. We've known this as early adopters,
Mm-hmm.
but the public, perception of crypto is scams and instability, volatility. So once it comes to the stock market, now we start to get some of the traditional accolades that come along with the old financial system or the traditional financial system.
Nice.
Right. Another reason for a need for it is it makes it much simpler for hedge fund investors to buy large amounts of Bitcoin, right? Similar to how they buy traditional securities. So what that does is it potentially
Mm-hmm.
significantly increases the Bitcoin investments, right? So in order to even have a Bitcoin ETF and apply for one, that means you have to buy the underlying asset.
Right.
So these guys are in the business of opening up a Bitcoin ETF with one Bitcoin. This is hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And just we'll get into it, but there's 12 companies that currently have applications out, and we'll explain, who they are and how much they're worth, so you guys can get an understanding of how much liquidity is going to come into this market, right? So unlike conventional Wall Street ETFs and stocks, where you can borrow against them, so Wall Street has a way that you can borrow against your stock portfolio and stuff. Buying Bitcoin requires upfront cash. So this is another reason why it's important to have a Bitcoin ETF.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of companies that just won't assume that risk with that much cash up front. But if you gave them a loan, you may take a chance.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? OPM, other people's money. This is the system that's set up in the traditional realm, where in the crypto side, we don't have that. Let me lend you money to buy Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that opens up a whole new market there. Right. And then the Bitcoin ETF allows investors to quickly gain exposure to Bitcoin and potentially borrow against it now, right? Because you're in the traditional sense. So if I'm holding set amount of shares in this ETF, there's products out there in the traditional platform that will lend against my holdings. So now that provides more liquidity for an investor.
Yeah.
Whereas if you came on on the crypto side, yeah, we have DeFi products and stuff like that, but they're not safe at all.
Right.
Right. So it's providing financial opportunity that wasn't available to the underlying asset when it just stayed in crypto.
Yeah.
So that's why there's a need for the Bitcoin ETF.
So tell me this. I'm gonna play devil's advocate. So why not just buy and hold Bitcoin?
I'm telling myself the same thing, right? Because we've been buying and holding crypto assets since 2015, right? So we understand. But like everything, guys, there's two things I like to harp on: lack of information and ignorance, right? It's hard to teach a old dog new tricks.
Right.
So besides having like unclear regulations around this industry, it's risky, right? So owning Bitcoin requires you to have what? A wallet and trusting a crypto exchange to make the purchase. Okay. And that's uncharted territory for a lot of guys. So just because you're an institutional investor doesn't mean that you're smart and you're able to take risks, right? So you're playing with other people's money at the end of the day. Right. What we do personally in our investments is our choice and free will. What you do when you work for a firm is protect the client.
Right.
Okay. So it's an unfamiliar space that requires a certain level of education. And this is one of the reasons why we started Skyton Crypto University. So you think about it. If institutional guys have a barrier of entry because of lack of information and ignorance, then that means the common person definitely has that, because they don't even speak the language of these investment vehicles. So information is power, right? That's one of the things that we've said in the past. Information is power. So these guys with lack of information, and lack of time, right? Because you have to put in, this is self-education now,
right?
When you enter this space. So holding Bitcoin places the burden of security squarely on you and I.
Very
No
understandable.
one wants to be accountable for something, right? So you're responsible for what? Keeping your own private key, unless you trust the exchange to hold it for you. But we tell you, not your keys, not your cheese. Meaning, if you don't have full custody of this thing, if something happens to that exchange, there's no recourse to getting that back. So that means that you have to now what? As an institutional investor, you have to buy a cold storage wallet, right, to protect the Bitcoin. And then you have to store your private keys and secure that. That in itself is a whole nother layer of security. So taxes is another thing. So when you're self-custodying, when you sell, that exposes you to capital gains tax. This is why investors just won't buy Bitcoin right now.
Got it. And that's super understandable, especially with this market being so emergent. So tell me, what is so special about a Bitcoin ETF?
And then just to close on that, you have to understand. So when you own the shares of the Bitcoin ETF, it's like owning shares of stock, right? So you gain the exposure to Bitcoin or the cryptocurrency market without having to jump through hoops in purchasing and holding the crypto.
Right.
Because champ, that it's not the easiest thing to do, but it's not the hardest thing to do either. Right. It's just the first time doing it could be nerve-wracking.
Absolutely.
So good thing for our students, we didn't have that.
Right. At all.
I didn't have a mentor, that took hits that's telling me how to move correctly in the industry. I can remember the first time I moved a large amount of ETH. It was so nerve-wracking. I literally had to turn the computer off. It took over 17 hours to reach all his blocks. This was years ago. So, it's gotten a lot faster now. But, what do? We tell our students, do a small test first. Make sure that gets to the wallet. I did maybe 3 or 4 tests. This is how anal I was. I was paying fees each time, so I was losing.
Yeah.
But it's the first time you're running through it at that magnitude and not having anyone next to you that's done it before.
Right.
That's a tough one. So now you're asking institutional guys to take tens of millions of dollars. Right? That's a big blowback for someone who just is not self-educated and is not willing to take a lot of this risk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you laid that one out perfect. I love that answer. So tell me, what is so special about a Bitcoin ETF?
Okay. So with the Bitcoin ETF in the US, it's expected to bring like a level of mainstream trustworthiness, right? And acceptance to Bitcoin investing. Right. So when you see companies like BlackRock with Larry Fink, Kathy Woods with ARK, these are all reputable investors who work for some of the biggest investment firms in the world.
Yeah.
Am I it's like I'm freezing a little bit. Are you seeing that on your end or?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. Did you hear my last statement? I just want to make sure it was clear.
Yeah, it came through clear.
Okay. And then the approval of the Bitcoin ETF by the SEC would mean that institutional investors can easily speculate on the price of Bitcoin, right? Because now it's mainstream.
Right.
It would functionally bring Bitcoin to Wall Street. Okay. So the same way that you can trade Tesla, bonds, gold, and other traditional aspects, now cryptocurrency is now welcome to the party now. So the trust that it gives the entire industry as a whole, because we know anything that happens with Bitcoin, it directly affects the entire industry, all coins.
Absolutely.
Right? Because Bitcoin is so dominant, being the first cryptocurrency. Right? They hold a really strong position. So, the big boys in the room now.
Yeah.
And with that said, it would likely provide a huge boost to the price of Bitcoin, right? Because now we have more eyes on it. Okay.
Man, that's crazy. So Bitcoin taking center stage, this is going to be a game changer. And earlier in the call, you mentioned there was a couple companies. I want you to tell the people what companies currently have a Bitcoin ETF application in with the SEC.
All right. So we have Grayscale. Okay. And they're about 50 billion. And they're holding a big bag of Bitcoin. Right. That's Mike Saylor and those guys over there. So their application is in. You have 21 shares and ARK. So ARK is Kathy Woods. 21 shares is a partnership. They're a crypto platform that specializes in different products. So guys, why it's important to research these companies, right? Because once you see that they're applying for the Bitcoin ETF, it doesn't stop there. When you go onto these sites, they're telling you what the verticals are, right? So between Kathy Woods and these guys, it's about 8 billion under management. And that's not even the total number, right? That's just what I was able to find. It's higher than that. Of course, BlackRock, Larry Fink, he called this a flight to quality. So basically what he's saying is in these tough times, we have to find asset classes that are going to protect the investments that we have out there. Everything is pretty much tied to this dollar that's failing right now. You understand? So you guys have to pay attention to the timing of this situation. And Champ and I knew this. The closer we get to this dollar dwindling and possibly definitely going away soon, they have to introduce some new vehicles to us right now. So this is major for cryptocurrency as a whole, to think that institutional guys who have been around for thousands of years that created this whole stock market situation to come into this asset class and grab it and bring it over into traditional financing. This is big.
Yeah.
Right. So you no longer could say that this is a scam, because clearly there's scams everywhere, but it doesn't stop you from using the US dollar because somebody's selling drugs with it or doing whatever.
Right.
So how soon we forget that scams are just woven into the society. That's we were built on things like this. You know, anytime you have centralized systems, you're going to have scams. So again, lack of information and ignorance. Right. So we have BlackRock, $9.4 trillion, Bitwise, $1 billion, Van Eck, $76 billion, Wisdom Tree, $94 billion, Invesco and Galaxy, $1.6 trillion. These guys, those two actually have the first Ethereum ETF application in. So understand this conversation is going to go into ETH, and they're working on XRP ETF right now. And then eventually what you're going to get is you're going to get a bag of ETFs. So you'll get Bitcoin, ETH, and XRP, Bitcoin and ETH, XRP. You know what I mean? Like there'll be different variations of it that's going to play against the market. So what's that telling you guys? These guys aren't coming into it with the knowledge or information thinking that this thing's going to crash and burn to zero. There's scarcity with Bitcoin right now, and we'll get into that stuff, you know, at the end. So Fidelity, 4.5 trillion, and they have their own crypto exchange. So they're self-custody in crypto over there. And Val Kyrie, 1 billion, but that's as of 2022. So their investment is a lot larger. So these are the 12 companies that currently have applications out with the SEC for Bitcoin ETF right now. And they're slated to BlackRock in them. So what the SEC was doing with these applications, this is dating back to like 2018 with the Winklevoss twins with the first one. They never approved anything, right? But what they did approve was they approved the Bitcoin futures ETF. So that means you can trade against the future price of Bitcoin. So if you think it's going to go up or down, that's already been approved, right? But that's going to be a connection to this spot ETF, right? Because once you have the spot ETF and you have the future ETF, a lot of these big companies right now are going to play both sides of the game. So in essence, guys, these guys could be market makers. So just think about the amount of data information that they have. If they're liquidating us right now with news in the futures market, and they control the information in the media, what do you think they're going to do to this Bitcoin ETF market?
Once they get their hands on it, they're going to put some work in.
They're going to have you looking this way, and they're going to be doing that, right? So this is where you have to get with trusted guides. To one, we're just bringing you the basic information on what this is, and then we're going to continue our talks in the university to show you how to clearly position yourself to make money in futures. And if you want to invest in their fund, then it's easy enough to just go in and, buy it. And if you want to hold it long term and you see value in Bitcoin, running up, then, by all means. So Global X, they own about 8,100 Bitcoin right now. And their fund is about 40 billion. We have Hash Dex and then Franklin X, I believe, and that they're 1.5 trillion under management. So these are big boys right here.
Yeah.
And then what it does is when these guys come in with this, they have friends in high places. So the pension money managers, pension managers, you name it. These guys are going to be the ones investing indirectly in Bitcoin through these funds. So we have trillions of dollars of exposure that's about to hit this market like this.
So Bitcoin taking center stage. Seems like this is going to be very fruitful for those who focus and they know what's going on. So with that said, I got another question for you. What opportunities can come from a Bitcoin ETF?
So first and foremost, buying Bitcoin, right? So Champ, back in 15, what was the price that you could remember, or just the lowest price that you could remember for Bitcoin when you first got in the industry?
I believe Bitcoin was around $300, $500, something like that. Yeah.
Yep. So in 2015, it traded between $300 and $600. That was the entry points. I know guys personally that got in 10, $30, $50, and then you got the guys from like 9 when it first hit 0.006.
6,000 of a penny. Yeah.
Right. This is kind of where this thing started. So ask yourself this. If you don't know much about crypto, but you do know that this thing topped out at 70,000, you do know that it's traded anywhere between, in the last 2 years, between 15,000 and 70,000 and all numbers in between. Right. You still have people that are going to question, should I come in now at 34,000, 35? If you have enough to buy a whole Bitcoin, I'm going to be honest, based on my opinion, I wouldn't do it. You understand? Can this thing get to 6 figures? For sure. So I'm going to plus up my Bitcoin bag because I know this is a short-term play. Whereas a lot of the altcoins that we invest in and the ones that we give out on our, our 1% group, those are more long-term projects that require what? Partnerships, systems to go live, and then mass adoption.
Right.
Okay. And we know a lot of these projects, either between 2025 and 2030 is when this entire industry is going to materialize. So in short, the project in crypto that's going to have the most capital infused is going to be Bitcoin right now. Okay. So they're calling between now and January 10th for the approval of this, of these ETFs. And they're saying they're not going to be approved one by one. It's going to be a basket of them at one time. So just the other day, there was a fake article that came out by CoinDesk, and it stated that the ETFs, and I even fell for it, right? I sent the information to Champ, and then you validated it by looking like, yo, it didn't get approved. It was fake news. That 1 minute candle shot that thing up almost 10%. Right. And it's still holding strong right now. So that's just telling you that the sentiment in the industry is people are waiting to catch this thing to ride up. And they're not thinking that, oh, there's a $20,000 entry, or there might possibly be even a $25,000 entry at this point now. This price is showing no slowdown of having a 2 in the front of it before these ETFs take off. So if you were lucky enough to buy Bitcoin back at 300 and you've accumulated, welcome to the party. Right. If you haven't played cryptocurrency and you want to get in with a little bit of money, because you can buy crypto, you can fractionalize it, buy $1, buy $10 worth, then this is not a bad investment play for you in the short, in my opinion. Again, this is not financial advice at all. This is just the opinion that I'm giving up. So buying Bitcoin is the first way to create opportunity with the ETF. Buying the actual ETF is good exposure to Bitcoin if you didn't want to deal with the self-custody part.
Yeah.
Okay. But truthfully, champ, what I would tell people having an online university that specializes in teaching crypto is learn to trade crypto futures, because you're going to have the most volatility in that new market of determining whether the price is going to go up or down. And when you trade futures, you can actually put leverage on these trades, which is then going to limit the amount of cash that you have to bring to the table. It still is risky at the end of the day, but you're only going to lose what you put in, and you can actually benefit more than you lose if you know how to trade properly.
Absolutely.
So I would say invest in trading's future program to understand how it works, what exchanges to trade on, which we have. And then the other thing too is there's so much more cryptocurrencies that have way more upside than Bitcoin. Right? There's literally a good basket of them that are sitting here that will easily in the future have as much liquidity in them as possible, as Bitcoin does now, because this industry is only less than $2 trillion total in market cap.
Mm-hmm.
The companies I'm telling you are bringing more than that to the table. And then the friends and company that they keep are bringing more than that to the table. So there's not only the United States ETF, but Europe actually has the first one that passed this year. It didn't do much to the market so much, right? We're I would say the US from an investment standpoint, we're a little more savvy than those counterparts out there, because there's so much people that want to get involved with this asset class right here. So Europe already has one ETF fund. You have Dubai working on one, right? And they're going to bring a bunch of their own money to the table. So there's only 21 million Bitcoin in existence.
Yep.
About 94% of it is basically accounted for. So that means you got between 5 and 6% to purchase out here, right? So just do the math. There's not enough Bitcoin for them to purchase off market right now. So that means they have to do what? They have to go to the open market and pay for it, which is going to do what to the price of Bitcoin?
Shoot it up. Astronomically.
6 figures.
Right. Easy.
You understand? But you need to do your research to understand, why would it get to 6 figures? So one piece of advice I would give you is go back to when it hit 70, look at everything that was happening around it, look at all the capital that was infused. And I could tell you that those occurrences, because I was there, are nowhere as, the opportunity is nowhere as huge as what's about to happen now with these ETFs. You understand? When it was 70, it didn't make crypto any more popular. It was a good talking point, but that thing crashed as fast as it went up and never to be seen again. Right? And then I would say the ignorance we talked about, which you just, that's just mindset at that point, right? That person is stuck on, oh, we'll never have self-driving cars, or we'll never have cars, right? So there was always a guy back in the horse and buggy day that was like, cars? Never, not in my lifetime. And then when cars came, there's guys that are like, self-driving cars? Nah, never in my lifetime. So you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Those type of people, there's nothing you could do for them. Not a religious guy, but Jesus walks on water. That mindset of that person, well, shit, then you don't know how to swim. Just can't really put no time into that. Mm-hmm. So because we live in an information age, there's no reason why education is not the number one driver in society right now, right? So the lack of education, we shot videos on Warren Buffett missing the tech boom. He's not solely missing the crypto situation, but these guys have told you before, lack of education. And even now with the Bitcoin ETF, the number one reason is lack of education. And then you have the trust, right? So we're still waiting for regulations to come in. Right. So we still have time, guys. Bitcoin at 34, 35 could take the air out of a lot of people. We're in a recession. down economic times, like this is the time, most common people aren't looking to invest heavy. And these are the times that really the cream rises to the top. Institutional investors live for these times right here. They actually create these problems so they can then sell high, crash the markets, come back in, buy low, while we're always, common guys just trying to figure things out, check the check.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get the knowledge. So when people come to me, it's like, yeah, we'll give you what the ETF knowledge is, but you need the fundamental of cryptocurrency. There's other opportunities. So this is where Skyton Crypto University comes into play.
Couldn't have said it better. That's it.
So this will be hosted on YouTube.
Yeah.
So we'll give you guys the special pricing for all our product lines in the description. So you'll be able to get access to the discount codes and everything. So we have two products basically, guys. We have the crypto mentorship training. It's 4 days of guided training in a training portal that self-guided too. So meaning you take it at your own pace. All the videos are pre-recorded. You have homework. It's put together well. And if we got a few minutes, you want me to kind of show them what it looks like?
Sure.
I have sharing capabilities.
Yeah, let's go ahead and add some value to them. All right. Share screen option. And there you go.
Okay. Let's log it into the portal now.
Yeah, let's give them some extra value. Show them what we do here at Skyton Crypto.
Okay. Let me know if you can see that.
All good.
So when I log into my portal, I have two courses now, which is our 1% Trilogy. And Champ, you can go into that, but we'll get into the boot camp first. So the boot camp, which we've just changed the name and rebranded. So now this is the mentorship. When you click in here, it's going to take you to this portal here. So we have 49 lessons, right? So day one is our introduction day. It's about 30 minutes. You could fly through this. So it's our disclaimer. Welcome to the course, outline and objectives. So you guys need to know, what you're getting, how to unpack everything about the instructors. So information about Champ and I. And then we go into crypto news and information. So this is where you can get, just setting up your system. So you understand the tools that you need in order to, get the most out of this course. Right. So what you guys have to realize is when you click on each course, it's going to look something similar to this. You're going to have a video. You're going to have your other lessons for the day all in here. So everything is kind of, self-contained. You're going to have a description. So if there's something in here, it's definitely valuable and you should read it. And then on the side here, you're going to have files that you download. So everything for that lesson is going to be right inside the lesson. Description, video, files, and you're just following along. And as you finish, you just mark completed. And then you move on to the next one. The good thing about the self-guided course, Champ, is we just updated so much. So crypto moves fast. So what we're going to continue to do is we're going to continue to update and omit certain things that no longer serve the purpose. So when you pay for this, you're on this ride for a little bit. So you can see everything marked updated is things that we just changed. So day two, you're going to get into what is cryptocurrency. So we just jump right into it. The benefits of cryptocurrency, the importance of investing in cryptocurrency. Now we get into the meat and potatoes. What are stable coins, trading pairs? What is the blockchain, smart contracts, terminology and tax guides, cryptocurrency markets, the different markets that you can trade in. We have a segment, 99% of projects will die. Champ explains to you why we say that. This is what led us to our 1% project. The ultimate security protocol. This is probably one of the most important 19 minutes that you're going to spend. Okay. And then 6 cryptocurrency investment strategies. And then you have homework at the end of day 2. Okay. Right after that, you get into day 3. This is where Champ does a lot of heavy lifting. coin market cap overview, watch list setup. So this is kind of where you get your information from to be able to do what next? Analyze projects. This right here is one of the most important piece of information that you're going to get, how to analyze a cryptocurrency project. This is valuable, guys. How to calculate price, market cap, price versus value, money flow. So understanding how things move in cryptocurrency. And then you have homework at the end of day 3. And then day 4, which is our last day, we get into navigating the exchanges, right? Choosing the right exchange, what is on and off ramp. That's basically buying and selling of crypto. Beginners exchange, this is important, right? So we give you the beginners exchanges. This is where most people need to start. And then we also give you a little bit of information on advanced exchanges. So there's a difference between the two, and Chance breaks down exactly what the difference is. Verifying transactions on the blockchain. This is important, right? Because everything is verifiable on here. Cold storage wallet overview. Security is big. And then we have homework at the end. And then we get into like our systems, like what's next. So that's kind of a brief overview of the mentorship program. And right now, currently, that's going for $97. This is part of our 2-year anniversary this month, where Skyton Crypto University has been around for 2 years, guys. And, that's being in crypto and teaching for 2 years is a phenomenal feat.
Absolutely.
Right. Because most of these guys crash and burn after the first market crash. So we withstood so many ebbs and flows. And it's undeniable, right? When I met Champ, he came in 15. I came in 15. We didn't know each other. But when you meet guys who have been through 18 Black Swan and everything else that has come along with this industry, and to still have conversations, to still be interested in cryptocurrency, you're pretty much battle tested. Absolutely. And that's what brought us together to create this product.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's the mentorship. It's 4 days, guys. It doesn't take long to complete everything. And Champ, if you want, I'll go back here. I'm not going to click into it, but you can kind of give them, this is our top tier situation. So after you finish the mentorship and you get the fundamentals, you come here. And what is this 1% trilogy?
So the 1% trilogy is the projects that we have done deep dives on. We've done our own due diligence, and we've seen that these projects have real world utility. They solve real world problems, and they're altcoins. So they're coins outside of Bitcoin that are poised to have a lot of upside. They're going to be implemented in the new global financial system, and they're creating ecosystems that have interoperability. What I mean by that is you have a project that solves a real world problem, but it also ties into another cryptocurrency project that solves another problem. So they've created different blockchains, and they have their own projects and ecosystems that are going to merge together, and they have some sort of connectedness, and they're going to continue to help us innovate and build the way that we operate right now, whether it be in commerce, whether it just be real world situations. It's going to do it all, and it's going to make life for us a million times easier. So when you're looking at it from a financial aspect, one, it's already going to help you personally, right? A lot of these projects, the way, innovation is, technology is going to continue to grow. And as it continues to grow, many projects are literally going to die. So the reason we even have a 1% is because when 99% of crypto projects die, there's going to be a remainder of 1% of projects that remain. Those 1% projects, we've already broken them down, and we have them laid out for you. This project is what really got me back excited about cryptocurrency, because after you've been in for so long, you understand just the general foundational stuff, right? You get all that. And then you also get your daily updates about cryptocurrency, what's going on in the market, new partnerships, and things of that nature. But when I went through this 1% trilogy, these projects, what kind of touched me again was the excitedness of what's to come. When you get into these projects, each of these projects show you a roadmap of what they're doing, what they're building, how they're going to affect our future situations. And it got me back excited. And I just wanted more. I had hunger for more. I wanted to go research. I wanted to see who was using this, who we're partnering with, what big governments are a part of this. So when you get into this 1% trilogy, When I tell you we've done the work for you, we've laid out these projects for you flawlessly, but we've also did it in a way that's going to make you hungry, and you're going to want to no longer be ignorant about what these projects are and what they solve. You're going to want to dive headfirst. So the 1% Trilogy, that's our top tier product. I don't know if you want to talk to them guys about the deal.
Yeah, we can. So you have to understand. So not only did we put out the top products, but on day one, what Champ did was he gave the ETHgate story. So if you don't know about it, you get that on day one. It's basically going to show you and unravel the government corruption that created so many problems in this industry with the SEC. So once you start to understand that story, it then leads you to who the players are. So before we even get into the projects, we tell you the corruption, which is at the highest level of government. Then we give you who the players are, right? The BIS, the Bank of International Settlement, IMF, you name it. This is global, guys. So we're not talking about just some old regular local guys here. These guys are international bankers. These guys are they're the ones that make the money move. They're above, if there's your bank, there's the central bank, and then there's the central bank of central banks. So now you start to get Champ gives you a bigger picture. So we're showing you the photos, we're showing you who they are. So when you start to see these people in interviews, you could already identify who they are and what they stand for. Mm-hmm. Right. And then on the last day, that's when we go into each individual project. But the great part about the 1% is inside of our Discord, we have a private 1% Discord that's lifetime. And it gives you every project. And what we do is anytime there's news that's linked to that project, we drop it right in the Discord, and then we have chats that are around it. So the great part of it is we've trained so many students that are in the 1% that they find news before Champ and I find it. So now you have this synergy of like-minded 1%ers all tracking these investments. So what it does too, and it actually helps me out because there's times I don't track all of them like that. So I get the information from our Discord, and it'll help me plus my bag up a little bit more. This company this crypto company just partnered with this person. Then you could validate it. You could see the patents was approved, and you're just starting to see these systems go. So guys, we're only waiting for one or two things right now. And one's happening now. That's the institutional adoption of cryptocurrency before regulations. That's unheard of. And then once you get the regulations in, this is where you're going to be priced out. Mm-hmm. So I'm telling you that you guys sit here the same way that your parents or the people before you might have missed that .com situation by being ignorant and the lack of information. I could side with the 90s. Why? Because information wasn't really free flowing like that. Yeah. You had to really pick up a book back then. Right. Okay. So if that book is not published, the way that crypto moves fast, there's no way if you don't have a distribution channel to be able to put things out. Only the internet is what's creating cryptocurrencies moving 4 times faster than the speed of the internet because we have the internet. You understand? So you don't have the luxury of sitting back and playing dumb in this market. Something's happening with the United States economy. You know that the dollar is not as strong as it was last week.
Absolutely.
Right? It doesn't take a genius to figure out that we're on the brink of something. And we know that COVID was a perfect storm to changing the way we do business, right? So now there's no more in-person transactions. Everything is digital, right? Taking cash out of, and I don't care what you guys say, oh, it's illegal. Let's be honest. You go to the store, they're telling you no cash accepted. You got time to go to court? Right. Or you just swiping your debit card like you've been doing for the last decade. Okay. So cash is being phased out right now. Even the printing of money is not in the way that we think. These are X's and O's right now. There's no new money really being printed anymore. That press shut down a long time ago. Yeah. So I like the fact that this product has a lifetime component to it that's going to give you information on each project. And then on top of that, once we get all our bearings together, we have 1% talks where we make sure that we're all on the same page, following and tracking. So the special that we have, usually the 1% is $29.97, so $3,000. Excuse me. For the 2-year anniversary, we discounted it 50%. So you're going to pay $1,500, but that doesn't give you the access to the lifetime, but it will give you everything you need. And then the rest of the research is basically on you at that point. But in the 1% training, we do give you all the research too. But there's just so much things happening from the time that we did our training to now. The Discord is packed full with information. because things are happening every day. These projects are innovating on something or getting one step closer to that goal. And then that's deal number one. Deal number two is 2,000, and you get the training and the lifetime for the 2-year anniversary. Okay. So in closing, guys, I'm going to tell you that this Bitcoin situation, Champ and I are not fans of this project. And I'm going to tell you why. For me, there's absolutely zero case use outside of this thing being digital gold. Even gold is pretty much worthless outside of wearing it.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing else you could do with it. But man said that there's stored value for it. So that's why we're using it. So when you understand what Champ and I understand, you have a better understanding of why we feel. And for me, Bitcoin is basically, and Champ said it first, Bitcoin's a psyop. And what I mean by that is they give you this asset class that has you ignoring what this industry is truly about. So even these guys adopting Bitcoin it's not for your best interest. So can we make money on it? Yes. But can it be detrimental to us? For sure. If you just think that this ecosystem is all about Bitcoin, right? That's just powerful marketing right there. So when there's that cotton swab that you clean your ears and take your makeup off with, I call it a Q-tip. I identify a cotton swab as a Q-tip because that brand is so strong.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Bitcoin is to cryptocurrency. So when you're not focusing on blockchain technology, when you're not focusing on smart contracts, when you're not focusing on trading pairs, you are missing the real meal at the table. So I end in, this project was put here to, one, condition us, right? And two, to make sure that the retail and the common investor never keeps their eyes off the biggest mark that's out there right now. And it's hard to walk by this elephant in the room, but I pay that thing no mind. So welcome to Bitcoin ETF, but I'm telling you that this is all about cryptocurrency. And guys, there's other ETFs that are in position right now. You need to start following the same suit because those projects aren't 34,000. One is under 1,800 and the other one that's coming up next is 55 cents right now. So you can come on this side and you can learn for a fraction of the cost of what you're going to spend. But if you want to spend 34,000, 35 on Bitcoin and ride it up to 100, that's the other thing. You're going to have to know how to time this thing too.
Absolutely.
And then if you bought it at 35 and it gets down to 25, do you have the stomach to hold that thing and not take that loss? In closing, you never make money or lose money until you sell the asset. So if you can't control your emotions in that game, then the world of investment it's not here for you. It's not meant for you. You want to close?
Wow. So one, you absolutely killed that. Two, all the gems that you gave them, I greatly appreciate it. And I greatly appreciate us being able to build something that the people can, partake in, learn from, edify themselves, and prepare themselves for what's to come in the future. And listen, that talk, I loved it. You killed that ETF situation. Absolutely.
And I want to take accountability for something. So we did the live prior and we're reshooting. This is a reshoot, guys. I totally bombed last night. I wasn't myself. I just couldn't get my points down. It was just one of those days. Like Jordan just didn't come out the gate correctly.
Yeah.
Champ for sure held up the first part of this of who owns Bitcoin. And the reason why we open with who owns Bitcoin is you guys have to have a clear understanding, right? Because if you can't change something you can't understand. So we wanted to really blow the lid off of this myth that's been riding the industry for so long. So it's like, you know what? Enough with it, kids. Santa Claus doesn't exist. I'm the one buying these toys. I'm the one wrapping these things up. That's what Champ did for you guys on the first part of this. So again, my apologies if you were on the live. This is a better explainer for you. And then Champ also had some slides that we decided to. So he had the slides with all the patents and links during the live talk. So many people asked us for the slides in the live conversation, and we decided to turn who owns Bitcoin into an NFT. So if you believe in Skyton Crypto University, or if you even believe in that information, if you know anything about NFTs, you're able to buy them, trade them higher when you're done with the information, or hold it. You never know how valuable this piece of information could be, especially when 5-10 years from now, somebody really comes out and says, oh, they are UFOs. You're sitting on a piece of history at that point. So we're going to be minting, and hopefully we can get it out before Black Friday. And that'll definitely be a piece of history, limited, thoughtful, and you'll get the audio file with it too.
Let's do it.
I believe that's a powerful NFT. I haven't heard of any platform that has made public remarks on who it is, and that has given the information so articulated it so easy. It flowed, and the graphics behind it are beyond none. Like the investigation that this brother did, and we knew this for a long time. We've thrown this out to the group before, but never in the manner of hold this, and then when you go do your own research, you're telling me, guys, these biggest, smartest institutional investors in the world would invest in something that they don't know who the owner is. Could be Putin, could be Kim, could be him, could be her. Like, stop it, guys. It's ridiculous. Thank you for that one, champ. You held it up yesterday. And again, my apologies for my performance. Part 2. I'm back.
Let's get it, man. You came with the vengeance. You served them up on a platter, gave them countless gems. You killed this, man. They needed this. Greatly appreciate it.
So again, just to recap, the deals are going to be in the description of the YouTube video when you watch it. So, have at it. We're not going to keep them up for too much longer. When they expire, don't reach out. The code would just say, because right now we just have it open-ended. We don't have a real expiration date on it, but it's about to wrap soon, guys. Oh, and there's only 10 packages for deal 1, 1,500. There's only 10 available coupons that could be used. And then for deal 2 at 2,000, there's only 10 available. And we've already sold a third of both the packages. So you can do the math in your head.
There you have it, folks. This wraps the vid. See y'all on the next one.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.